Hey, what's up, guys? What do you call it? I was checking out the MS3 yesterday, and apparently, I wasn't looking correctly at the what's it called, the wiring. I had missed the whole MS3 because I was just looking at the main harness. Then I found the MS3, as well as the same time I was emailing Matt at DIY Auto Tunes. I guess he handles most of the sales or whatnot, but he's always helpful. Helped me on my first squirt, and in response to I guess errands, when I first did the squirt, it was a plug and play, so I didn't have to do any pins. It was really just do that, and then just to put the like the wasted spark and everything else I had to do a couple wiring. It was real minimal. But now, since I'm doing the full thing, so I had these questions because I was looking at the main harness and it only said one cam input, crank input, and then I'm trying to figure out where would these, the cam sensors go and whatever. Then I had read that the MS3 harness, has for the cam input, but the, Nissan ECU, man, got a little tired. The Nissan, the VQ, it has two hall sensors. Are located on each head of the, I'm trying to think, I can't remember if it's intake or exhaust. Right now it's really irrelevant. But basically, I emailed Matt saying, hey, I know this is up. And I know I mentioned earlier the whole thing about, the signals, because when you're looking at the diagram or even just reading, it doesn't, it just said like speed sensor, which would be like your crank or whatnot, and I didn't know if whichever, but regardless of what, I got it clarified, and that's really it was very simple after I did some more reading. So I will switch over and then show you this. All right, so that's just kind of my thing. I was relaying back and forth with Matt there, but basically what said, if you're not using the VVT, then you just need one cam sensor, which will then plug into here I got it set here. So basically you see there the crank signal going to pin 24 on the main harness, and I know that the cam will go into the MS3 on pin 32, as I do wire both cam signals from both banks on into the that's a daughter board on pin 32. Or do I put one pin and 32 in the other and the input like 28 or 29? Those are probably like, spare inputs that I may not use. One was for like nitrous or something like that. And then just change the settings in TS. I have a background with this, just not in terms of installing. So I understand the gist of it. So he basically said I only need one cam if I'm not using the VVT. Since I do have this option, and as you can see, using the VVT, you'll need both, just to PT4 the data log on the MS3X or JS10 pin 36 on the main board. Either or. I'll probably just go into this data log pin, because when you start going into here, this is the wiring harness for the daughter board that enables, and as you can see, let me see, right there, pin 32 is the cam input, and then he says that I could put it on the PT4 or the data log in, so pin 31 or pin 30. So I will do that because I would just like to have see what the VVL, I need to read up on the VVL, just to see. Yeah, so I want to read up on the VVL. I haven't done any research on it, just in terms when the actual camshaft turns to either advance. It's most likely advance the cam, and I don't know if it does that on low RPMs or on high RPMs. Like I said, I just need to research it. I just haven't had time, because then depending on what it may be, that if I advance the, like when I advance, does it what do you call it, minimize the overlap of of the intake and exhaust cams opening at the, being opened at the same time, or is it, vice versa? I don't know. I mean, I imagine that's what it could be. Is that when the cam advances, that it may be doing that, or it may be doing something different. I don't know. I'm a researcher, it, no big deal. But it would be cool to see me having it hooked up and then see what the difference is. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with the difference in cam, shifting in terms of degree. And then you also have, VTEC, which is based on not the actual cam shifting, but really just the lift or the duration, changes. And that's what, like Honda's known for. Like, let's say it could be like a 232, below, was it 5,500, I believe it engages. So anything under 5,500 RPMs could be like, duration of 232 degrees. And then once that VTEC hits, then it could probably switch to a 248. I don't know. I read somewhere, that this VQ has, 248 cams, intake and exhaust. Like I said, I just need to do more research. Right now I'm more, what's that thing called? Focused on getting the, the piping done and all that. And then, that is, because after that, it's just, more like brain overload maybe. Or the other thing is I may forget something, shit like that. But at least, like with the ECU, that's, right now I already got that. And now that I already know what my cam inputs are, that's already, simple as done. So I have the whole harness that I will cut up and then just need the pins that I need, and then even for the knock sensor as well. And then I'm going to use the same, what's that thing called? The harness. There's a sub harness underneath the intake manifold that goes to the injectors and I believe probably the knock sensor too or whatever. But anyhow, that all plugs in. I will still, use all that. So at least, that's nice and factory looking. I don't have like crazy wires. The only one that, is probably going to be, that will be visible is a TPS. And then I'm going to weld a bung underneath the, what's that thing called? The pipe after the throttle body. Since I have that long running pipe, I'm going to put the TPS sensor there. All right, so back to I was going to ask questions. So the IAT intake air temp, I'll run that underneath there. And as for sensors, like wiring, that should kind of be my only one. And I got to figure out, a little mounting bracket for the LS coils, which that's a simple fix. The thing is, I want to see if the KA plugs will sit right into those and have, just sit flush. Because then that could be, I could just buy me some, NGK plugs and then just cut them and put the LS2 connectors on the other end and, do what I need to do. And it'll be like a true, or kind of like how the coils on the, what's that thing called that I got them from? The LS. I believe I got these from the Yukon D585 coils. They go from there. So little short stuff, but at least it is coming along and, we'll see. So, I know Aaron, he was saying, and like I said, this is my first time doing like a full, like ECU install. And I mean, it's not the matter. It's just reading and information. So anybody can do it. I mean, we all have questions. We all need to figure out, things. And, that's pretty much what's it. So, all right, guys. So talk to you later.